Clinton. Remember the other day we were told to expect more spontaneity from her. Well, so much for that, it seems. There are now reports that Hillary's long-awaited apology for her email controversy came only after the results of a New Hampshire focus group. That's right. According to the New York Times, Mrs. Clinton's aides showed some Granite State Democrats and independents a video of a recent news conference where she took responsibility for the email mess, but she stopped short of apologizing. The results? Well, participants said that they wanted to hear more about the issue and indicated that the controversy is drowning out nearly everything else that Clinton is trying to communicate with voters. Okay, Taya, this is classic Clinton. Right back in the 90s, they polled where they should go on vacation, what would look the best for them. I don't think anybody with a functioning brain saw her apologize and thought that was coming from the heart. I mean, everything she does is strategic and calculated. And so a planned, spontaneous media tour would be the same way, an apology.
Right. I mean, Bill Clinton, everybody knows, was so charismatic, and he's the person that could play any room and get all that attention, and he can say, I did not, and be believable. She's not going to be very believable because honestly she's too arrogant, in my opinion. She doesn't want to apologize. She doesn't want to be called out, and she thinks that everything she does is immune, honestly, from reproach from anybody. So I think that it's comical that she would do a focus group to say that she should be spontaneous, and then I think she's a mess, and I think that her campaign is circling the drain primarily because it's not just this one issue. There have always been little fires around the Clintons forever, and Hillary's a part of those. And the more we see her speak freely, she is angry. She doesn't like to be called out on things. And I feel as a president, you would have to be at least open to hearing some...
Not exactly approachable.
Exactly.
Is it surprising, though, Sandra, that she polled and that's why she gave the apology?
Well, yeah. And that the focus group showed that the email issue was drowning out nearly everything else that Mrs. Clinton was hoping to communicate to voters. Okay, we know that privately they had been complaining about this to friends, that they couldn't get to the issues because every question was about the email scandal. And Melissa, I'm sure you could back me up on this. I was giving credit to Hillary Clinton and her campaign for really leading the conversation on the economy. Like what she had to say or not, at least she was focusing on the economy and telling people how she planned to fix the economy. But nobody was listening because everyone was talking about the email scandal. She couldn't get over that.
Yeah, no, and even that seems like a long time ago now. What I do think is surprising about this is where it came from, because you're like, how embarrassing to hear that they had this focus group talking about it. Look at the source. According to a Democrat briefed on the focus group, whose account was confirmed by a person within her campaign. Wow. I mean, she is really getting attacked from the left, from Democrats. Someone inside her campaign.
Yeah, worse than that.
I mean, to me, this shows me that the Democratic machine is not confident in her as a candidate. They're undermining her and they're backing up somebody else. I mean, the source of this is what's really interesting.
If they're shooting inside the tent, things are not good.
Yeah, and later in the show, Judge, we'll get to the rise of Bernie Sanders and potentially why they're throwing her under the bus and the whispers about Joe Biden getting into this. But this is what campaigns do. I mean, some campaigns do it to a greater degree. I think the Clintons do rely a lot on polling instead of being authentic. But, I got to tell you, it makes me wonder what else they're polling.
But she's in a particularly bad position. The public in general doesn't really have high regards for politicians, okay? They start with a strike against them already. But now she is polling, 60-something% feels she's untrustworthy? 30% of those are Democrats. I mean, you would understand that Republicans think she's untrustworthy, and some independents think she's untrustworthy. But even within her own party, 30%, that's a massive amount of your followers thinking that you're untrustworthy. So now, when the polling thing comes out, which might otherwise go unnoticed anywhere else because politicians are always doing that, now it has specific significance because we can't trust anything you say because you're going to say whatever the focus group tells you should say.
Right. So yesterday, Sandra, I mentioned that it seemed like she was polling the responses that she gave on what were in her emails. The yoga classes, the mom's funeral, the daughter's wedding. So they would resonate with women. I talked to a Democratic strategist. They said, that's exactly what they do on these.
You said that all along.
So I wonder what else that comes out of her mouth has been poll tested and scripted. And then the one time, Taya, that she does speak from the heart, she blurts out, what difference does it make about Benghazi? I thought that was really her.
No, she also had her incident with the Black Lives Matter group, which went like a disaster. So you can see when she's not not focus group testing and she's not speaking off a teleprompter, she's not Bill. She's just not Bill.
No question.